Good morning, members, officers and members of the public. My name is John Cater, Clerk to the committee. The public element of today's meeting is being recorded in line with the City Corporation's policies, and the recording shall be retained for up to 1 year. Chairman.
Thank you, Town Clerk. Thanks all for being here. We have a few members observing online. Thank you for being online as well. Right, well, why don't we make a start? I'm trying to get through this as quickly as we possibly can. There's a few things coming up in private, which we'll go through shortly. So, Town Clerk, apologies, please.
Thank you, Chairman. In advance of today's meeting, I've received formal apologies from Nicholas Benster-Smith, David Brooks-Wilson, Deputy Henry Colthurst, Deputy Peter Dunphy, Alderman Prem Goyle, Deputy Christopher Hayward, Deputy Andrea Myers, and Deputy James Thompson. In addition, I believe Mr Woodhouse is arriving slightly later today, and a number of members have joined us today on Teams, and they will be included in the minutes as observers.
Yeah, let's just make a note, John, that Andrea will be joining shortly online. Thank you.
Item 2, Chairman, are member declarations. Are there any declaration on the Code of Conduct respective items on today's agenda?
Not seeing any. We normally have David, but he's not here, so move on. Yep.
Item 3 are the public minutes of our last meeting on the 1st of December 2025 for decision, pages 7 through 12.
Right, members, any comments on the last minutes? Nope, not seeing any. Right, John, let's move on.
Thank you, Chairman. Item 4, the forward plan for information, pages 13 through 14.
Right, this is an information item. I'm planning to move on from this one. Don't have anything to note. We discussed that all over, unless there are any questions in the room. Happy to take one or two. Nope, not seeing any. Let's move on. Thank you.
Chairman, thank you. Item 5, the Treasury Management Strategy Statement and Annual Investment Strategy, 26/27, report of the Chamberlain for decision, page 15 through 58.
Thank you, Town Clerk. Kate.
Thank you, Chair. This is the annual Treasury Management Strategy Statement that comes to a number of committees, starting with this one. The annual update takes into account the latest information concerning the organisation's capital plans and external factors such as prospects for interest rates, which, as you will be aware, didn't change at the last NPCC meeting. There are no changes required to this document as a result of any amendments to potential Treasury codes, nor from the accounting standards. This covers all 3 funds, the City Fund, Cities Estate and City Bridge Foundations, and City Bridge Foundation will approve this report, hopefully on their meeting on the 26th of February. The strategy itself can be found on pages 19 to 39, and changes are underlined and highlighted in yellow for those of you who are looking on your screen. I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you. I see Andrew's hand up. Just before I bring you in, Andrew, just a quick note. We did discuss this at call over around whether the financing strategy is or needs to be looked at, given what's going on in terms of fair funding and some other discussions. We'll take them in private. So if you have any questions on that, please hold them. But otherwise, Andrew, if yours wasn't related to that, mic is yours.
Thank you, Chair. That it was more a question that links here, maybe even better in the manager conversation, that one of the things that isn't discussed in is collateral management, both that ever considered at Treasury level here, but also for the managers, given where interest rates are, how collateral is actually something that can provide another revenue, and does the City of London Corporation funds benefit from that? So it's a question maybe to take away, but it would just be useful to know.
That's an interesting question. I mean, this is mainly focused on our city fund, and there are very strict rules around this, and actually its preservation of capital is the first rule around CIPFA's code. Might be helpful perhaps if we had a conversation offline, Andrew, about that. We don't have managers as such, apart from, say, the bonds, because most of the lending is with the very high quality banks, etc. So, you know, fixed term deposits, etc. We have got a couple of bonds with some fund managers, Royal London and Elgin, which at the moment are paying quite a lot of interest, which is very helpful to our city fund position. But perhaps we could have a conversation about that offline, if that would Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. If I may, Andrew, I mean, I think what might be useful for the members is if you could maybe just clarify what you mean around collateral, some of the mechanics around what you're.
Yes, so your ability to, when you're managing securities, is to be able to lend them to the market when there's demand for it. And as a natural owner of securities across various funds, equities, bonds, that at times that can allow additional revenue.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to clarify, this is the treasury management only. The investment strategies on those types of securities are dealt with by the relevant committees and are under different strategies. This is solely the, don't like to use the word cash, but cash equivalents of our money. So I understand what you're saying now, but that is not part of this strategy. This is solely on this, and it is set up by SIFA and the prudential guidance, and we have to follow it, and all local authorities have to do this.
Thank you, Andrew. Shravan.
Thank you, Chair. A question and potentially a follow-up, if you don't mind. So on page 26, we've got changing of wording on the City Funds capital programme. And I just want to clarify with the Chamberlain that if we do dispose of investment properties, that we could use those revenues for our HRA account. I wasn't sure we could. If you could clarify that, and then I might have a follow-on subject to your answer.
So yeah, two points on this. The first is that the only way we could finance the housing capital programme is through capital receipts. So it has to have come from the sale of assets. And that's something that's been part of our discussions with the department. And the second thing is that we will be taking it from the capital reserves as opposed to other sources of capital funding, which we're using for the rest of the programme.
Thank you. But capital on new housing is different to the HRA. This is about maintenance of existing housing stock. I'm not sure we can use proceeds of investment sales for maintaining the HRA account, can we?
So on the maintenance, that's completely different. So this is referring to the court approval for the improvement works that is going ahead on the housing stock. So this is the £200 million programme that it's now gone up to 200 million. That is capital. Repairs and maintenance is entirely different and has to be on our social housing, has to be funded through the housing revenue account.
Okay. Could we clarify that wording a little bit? Because I think I misread it. I read it as capital proceeds going into paying for the HRA for improving housing stock.
We'll have a look at the wording. That is the wording of a capital programme, is to improve the housing stock.
So maybe if we just put in capital programme.
And then put capital programme
I think
to improve.
Because I don't want to fall foul of.
Very happy to. That makes a lot of sense.
Thank you. So otherwise that's a massive strategic shift, and that's not where we are, I don't think.
Thank you, Shravan. Well noted. Alison.
Sure, I don't mean to, in any sense, showing disrespect to our external members, but I really wonder how well sighted they are on all of that side of what we're doing with our funding and finances. And you've talked to yourself about the fairer funding outcome. I mean, some of them will know about that, maybe not all. I just wondered how far we're making sure everybody's up to date and up to speed on what we're doing. It's again, no disrespect to anybody, but there's no reason why they should. And this all may suddenly be sort of slightly unusual. And certainly the whole HRA is very confusing, even to Shravan.
Yeah, no, very fair question. And I guess I'll let Chamberlain come in, but maybe we can loop this all into the private discussion.
So
later.
We'll loop it into the private discussion. Of course, there's probably more one-to-one discussions to take place. So we do have member meetings in terms of the induction into it, but things have been moving fairly swiftly. So very happy to have those updates if our external members would find that useful.
Well, yeah. Why don't we make a note to kind of bring that into the next discussion, Alison, if that's okay. Philip.
Yes, sorry, on the same point, picking up on Alison, I think at the Finance Committee there was a chart put up by the Chairman of Finance showing how much value we've lost in our asset portfolio. I think we should see that here as well, because I think it was £400 million. And I think the lack of joined up thinking on this is actually a significant worry in my mind. So I think if we could possibly have it emailed to everybody after the meeting, but I think it should be finance see something like that, it's quite telling for the investment board to be aware. Please.
Yep. Why don't we share that around post the meeting? Thank you, Philip. Right, members, any other questions on item number 5 before we seek your approval? Not seeing any. Are we okay to approve that paper? Yep. Okay. 10 o'clock.
Chairman, thank you. Item 6 is the Treasury Management Update as at 31 December 25 for information, page 59.
Yeah, I think this one speaks for itself. It's our usual update. Nothing really to note here, but happy to take a question or two if we have any in the room. Not seeing any. Okay, 10 o'clock.
Chairman, thank you. Item 7, the draft high-level business plan for 26 to 2031, the City Surveyors Department for decision.
Yep, Paul.
This is the department's high-level business plan covering the 5-year period through to 2031. It's been approved by Markets Board on the 21st of January and Resource Allocation Subcommittee on the 27th of January. Whilst this is a 5-year plan, it will be reviewed and refreshed on an annual basis and presented to committee for approval on this timeframe. This plan is presented for decision. Clearly, we welcome feedback from members. Few detail points. The plan is now a 5-year document. This is to better align with the department's key strategic activities. For this forum, this captures real estate investment strategy and the climate action strategy, but also other key departmental initiatives such as the cyclical works programme and the progression of the demarketisation bill. The plan also aligns with the organisation's template, which has been presented to key internal fora, such as the Executive Leadership Board, and engagement and input has been sought from the Equality, Equity, Diversity and Inclusivity Board and also Health and Safety. The KPIs for the following year are included within pages 4 to 7 on the plan at Appendix 1. So that's my introduction, Chairman. Thank you. Happy to any questions.
Thank you, Paul. Alison.
Yeah, 2 or 3 comments actually, if I could. On page 85, there's reference to asset utilisation assessment and areas in the which I took to be how many people are in the office, in a sense, or at least it prompted for me a question of what are the number of days that people are in the office, to therefore look at utilisation space, and also what is the percentage of desk utilisation. I don't know if we have a system here, we do at my office, where if you're at your office space, it clocks in on the computer. It's a bit weird, really. It's under the desk. Secondly, on page 89, there's a reference to Finsbury Park, which I think should be Finsbury Circus, but maybe we did improve Finsbury Park. Page 90, there's a, oh, hang on, yeah, this, sorry, it's not page 1, it's the action plan, page 92 onwards. At the top, it's got funding resource, percentage, then people resource. Can I just check that is, I did add them up, it does add up to 100%, so I assume that 39%, for example, work in the property services operations group. And then finally, at the end of that action plan, you've got lots of priorities in the medium term, but the timeframes are all at the moment, apart from 2 or 3, to be confirmed. So I just wondered, you know, when are we going to put some figures or dates in there so we know when those options would be progressing? Thank you.
Thank you, Alison. Paul.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just on the first question around utilisation, we actually do measure utilisation in the Guildhall in terms of how well the space is being utilised. So we can provide further information on that, if that would be helpful. That would certainly give a view as to how many days people are in the office. Obviously, we have our direction from the Corporate Services Committee, minimum 3 days in the office to be adhered with. So, but we can certainly build on that. And what we're trying to ensure is that the space is utilised as best as we can make it going forward. On the second question, sorry, Alison, on page 92.
It's page 89 about Finsbury Park. Is that...
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
And then the action plan, the percentages.
Yeah.
That's the percentage of the total workforce in the department. Which department are we talking about? Perhaps I can start with.
Yeah, so that would be the first one, property services, that would be in the ops group, which obviously delivers all of the FM services and cyclical works programme.
Yeah, sorry, so it's 39% of which department is the ops group? The
Well,
city surveyors department?
Yes, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, your last question.
Priorities, timescale for the priorities on page 9. Yeah, I just think all of them, they could have some kind of timescale rather than TBC, because you are able to give me some kind of timescale, but it just feels a bit vague there. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Alison, why don't we have a look at that, Paul, and for the next report, or maybe we can circulate rough timeline, excuse me, following the meeting. Any other questions in the room? Nope. Okay, so why don't we take that as a takeaway, Paul? And this was a decision item. I'll take that as approved. Yep. Okay. 10 o'clock.
My apologies to those online. We briefly dropped out for about 5 seconds or so. We will restore the recording, however, and I think we're back online now. Moving to item 8, Chairman, questions on matters related to the work of the committee.
Nope. Haven't received any.
Thank you. Item 9, any other business that you consider urgent at this point?
No.
Thank you, Chairman. Item 10, the members now content to exclude the public.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ken, great if you could switch off the live feed, please.